ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಗಂಟೆ ಹೆಸರು ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬೇಕು.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ
ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊತೀವಿ. Dear participants, good morning to all of you once again. Welcome all to the last lecture session of this UGC sponsored short-term course on disaster management. For this last lecture session, we have with us Professor H.N. Vishwanath sir as a resource person. Professor Vishwanath sir is a former professor of education. He served at Sarada Vilas Teachers College. He has to put in more than 35 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience to his credit. In fact, he obtained his master's in zoology and another master's in psychology, M.Ed, and he has also qualified in SLET, and he obtained postgraduate diploma in education, postgraduate diploma in human resource management, and PhD in education. Before joining the Sharda Vilas Teachers College, he served for a few years at Dr. T.M.A. Pai College of Education, Udupi. Then the remaining service at Sharda Vilas Teachers College. This area of specialization is educational psychology and evaluation, educational technology, educational administration and management, human resource development and management, life skills education, educational research, counseling and guidance, etc. Under the evidence of Professor Vishwanath sir, 5 students obtained their PhD and 15 obtained their MPhil degree. And is also a member of Mysore District Research Advisory Committee, Sarva Shikshana Abhiyan, District Institute of Education and Training, Mysore. And he also participated as resource person in more than 100 plus conferences, seminars, workshops, and training programs at university, state, and national and international level. And participated and presented research and thematic papers in more than 50 plus at state conferences, national conferences, and even in World Conference also. And is also a former member of Karnataka State Textbook Committee and former state resource person for Jilla Sakshara Samiti, Karnataka Literacy Mission, and is a former member and chairman of National Talent Search Examination NTSC Committee. And he published a good number of books, to mention a few, the titles: Models of Teaching in Environmental Education, Adolescence and Life Skills Education, Pariksha, Trimester Education and Secondary Education, Media Efficacy in Rural Women Empowerment, Constructive Pedagogy for Next-Gen Students to empower them to think beyond their reach, Computer Education to Computers in Education, to mention a few. And he also prepared video lessons for Indian Institute of Teacher Education of Gujarat. And he has been awarded several awards: State Award, Best Science Educator Award, Best Research Paper Presentation Award, Best Paper Presentation Award, and Kannada also State Award, etc. for his contribution to the field of education in particular. With this brief, I welcome already Professor H. N. Vishwanath sir to this online lecture session on behalf of all the participants through online and also on behalf of the MUTC Center and Insta. So over to Vishwanath sir. Just check.
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರಮ್ಮ. ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ?
ಸರಿ
ಮಾಡಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಸರಿ, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಬರೋದಾ?
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ?
ಸರ್ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ PPT ಮೇಲೆ.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Another 10 minutes to 12 o'clock. And we have around 1 hour, 10 minutes to discuss the last but very important issue. As teachers, we need to know, okay, what is the role of education and training related to managing the disasters. So when the coordinator and the director requested me, I thought more than all these things, each one of us should know as teachers, as well as we can teach our own students about how physically and mentally we need to prepare ourselves to face the challenges that are posed by sometimes expected disasters and sometimes sudden or unexpected disasters. So I'm very thankful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Mysore, Honorable Director of MMTTC, and the Program Coordinator, Professor Nanjan Swami, for having given me a chance to meet each one of you. Myself, Professor Vishwanath, I work for teacher education. So whenever any issues related to education comes, so I'm invited here to explain or to discuss what role education and training play related to some issues. And today's issue is, of course, disaster management. I hope since a week, since 6 to 7 days, you have been exposed to various other dimensions of disaster management. What are disasters? what are the different types, then how to overcome the problems, how to face, how to prepare, something like that. So as a conclusion, I came to know that today is the last day and it may be the last session also. I just thought logically to end the whole program, as a teacher, one needs to know how education and training play a very important role in preparing us to face the problems of disasters. Keeping this in view, I just thought that this title would be okay with you. I request each one of you, dear friends, let us not take up any course for the sake of promotion. I don't believe in that. Promotions are very important, and these are all mandatory requirements to get into the next level of AGP or whatever it is. But being a teacher, one should know clearly about the topic which is on hand. We need to have a lot of awareness, that is knowledge. We need to understand, we need to appreciate, we should develop a positive attitude, then we should apply whatever we learn during the practical situations whenever it comes. So all these things are more important than just for promotion, doing something for promotion. So both should go hand in hand. So in this context, even I was a participant just a decade ago here. Okay, I used to attend so many programs in this MMTDC, which is a very well organized portion of University of Mysore. Okay, I just thought that I just wanted to give you a suggestion that please be focused, listening to me carefully. Whenever you have a question, make a note of it. At the end of the session, in the last 5 minutes, we will have an interaction. So that would be better. So since it is online, better we will have an interaction at the end, a summative interaction. I hope my session will be of little use to you so that you all can manage the disasters on yourself as well as giving training to your own students at your institutions. Thank you so much and welcome to the session. Now, I don't want to discuss many issues which have already been discussed. Okay, and I request each one of you to put yourself on the screen. Don't just hide yourself. I want to see the faces of participants. I may have to ask questions in between. So I request each one of you to appear on the screen. Manjula ma'am, Tulsi Ram, Shivalingam. So I request all of you to come on the screen, like Chidananda Murthy sir. Thank you so much. Now, I don't see if you want me to discuss about any issues which have already been discussed, I don't mind. But the available time is very less. So we need to focus more on the role of education and training in disaster management. Anyhow, let us just pass through logically right from the beginning. What is a disaster? So all these things, a disaster is an unexpected event that disturbs the community, disrupts the life, of course, and causes serious harm to people, property, and the environment. It refers to a significant disruption that hampers the function and the daily life of people in the society as well as many kinds of living things. So you know all these things. Then what is disaster management? That also it is simply a process of preparing, responding, and to learn from the consequences of such major incidences. It involves dealing with human beings, materials, economics, and environmental effects caused by disasters. So I also have been exposed. Kambali madam, please mute yourself. So you have been exposed to all these things, disaster management. Then what is its importance? So I have given you some points. Some others might have already discussed all these issues with you. So unless a country is able to manage its disasters, definitely I'll tell you, its economic growth and development will definitely get hampered. So you need to have a safer establishments. And more than anything else, we need to have people who are resilient. Resilient means strong-minded, determined, not staggered, highly established. Okay, like people of Japan who have been exposed to thousands of earthquakes, then volcanoes, etc. Immediately they get prepared how to face that. They'll be knowing what are the consequences. Now these days you are seeing through through different kinds of mass media that at different places on the globe, varieties of disasters are continuously going on. Even yesterday, I was watching television. There are floods in Thailand. So it has not come to an end. There are varieties of disasters. So people of Thailand, Japan, Korea, China, which other coming, many other countries, they always expect some or the other kind of disasters. They anticipate for that. They are mentally ready and they know how to rescue themselves, how to take care of themselves, how to help others, how to be very strong minded, how to escape, how to manage, how to rebuild, and how to rediscover various other techniques of managing disasters. So, being Indians, we are better than other countries, people of other countries, because very rarely we come across some kinds of disasters. Like normally we have cyclone effects, cyclones. Here and there, very rarely we will have earthquakes. And these days, landslides are very frequently occurring. It is again because of illogical, illegal human interference with the environment. So, environment has something called the carrying capacity. In Kannada, we say dharana samarthya. Bhumiya dharana samarthya. So, when this carrying capacity has been it is excelled in the sense it becomes, say, what is that? Whenever we intervene too much, then the carrying capacity becomes low. And naturally, the nature knows how to take care of itself. Remember very well, without human beings, nature becomes an excellent existent. And nature exists. Nature exists in a beautiful way. For the last 3 or 4 days, I was in the deep forests of Dandeli and Joida taluks of Uttara Kannada districts, where people interference is very, very less. And nearly 90 to 95% of the people who are living in villages, then tribal habitats, they are eco-friendly, nature-friendly. And wherever you see beautiful forest, very rich ecosystem is there with all kinds of biodiversity. In such cases, natural calamities are very, very less, very few. Neither landslides, nor forest fires, nor even earthquakes, something like that. Because human interference is very less. But these days, because of extended human interventions, unscientific, irrational, illogical, okay, then because of all these things, disasters are more. So people need to know how these disasters can be managed. So because of that, education and training are very, very important. So management helps also the community to handle whatever the challenges that arise. It helps in the preservation of life, protection of species, and it also helps to protect the lives of many kinds of plants, animals, and human beings. It also helps to develop a kind of mechanism recovery, a quick recovery, a fast recovery is also very important. Otherwise, the economy goes down and environmental imbalance will be more. So economic losses will be reduced. Preparedness is very important, my dear friends. Preparedness. So unless we prepare ourselves to face the consequences, it becomes a shock for us. Then collaborative efforts are very important. For all these things, disaster management will have its own role. So types of disasters, everybody has, most of the other people might have spoken about it. I just make a mention and move. You can see on the screen, human-caused disasters, natural disasters, disasters related to water, geological disasters like landslides, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tornadoes, then avalanches, like that. Then and forest fires, then collapsing of large unstable structures, biological disasters like the pest invasions, livestock epidemics, and locust plagues, industrial disasters, oil spills, then fire accidents, industrial mishaps, etc. And nuclear disasters, you know very well, the leakage of nuclear radiations, which is the most dangerous one. Like that, there are many types of disasters. In fact, each kind of disaster has its own meaning, has its own cause and effect, requires the mental and physical preparedness for its management, and see the new techniques which have been evolved to face the consequences of each kind of disaster is different. So I think you have been exposed to all these things. Remember, my dear friends, irrespective of your subject background, this particular topic is very, very important. You may have these kinds of disasters in your home itself, or in the colleges where you are teaching. Suddenly there will be a small earthquake, suddenly a fire outburst, suddenly the roof collapses, suddenly there may be a flood in your near surroundings. So how do you train your children? How do you make their minds strong? How do you develop a kind of strong-mindedness to face a disaster without becoming panic? That is very important. Many a times, being teachers, we become panic. We become panic. I remember one incident. I'm sorry if I'm a little deviant. Like I know that there was a very big fire mishap in a village of, I think, Tamil Nadu or Kerala, long ago, maybe around some 10 years back, 8 to 10 years back. The school was a big school, but unfortunately it had a thatched roof. Thatched roof means, you know, that coconut grass, dry coconut leaves, etc., like that. And suddenly fire broke out. And many children were there inside the school, hundreds of children. And there were a few small children who were studying in lower sections. They were always very obedient to teachers. And school had some 2 or 3 floors. So the lower floors were, little strong than the upper floors, which were thatched. Okay. Then the whole school caught fire from all round. And the children were so obedient to their teacher that the teacher herself was panicked. She did not know what to do. Children are moving here and there, screaming, then having some fire wounds, etc., etc. And she did not know what to do. And she was also moving here and there, and she did not give any kind of suggestion or order or whatever, the warning or whatever it is to children. And children were just waiting for her, suggestion or direction. And they kept standing in the same place, and they were burned. You may not believe. They were burnt. Many of them were half burnt. So like that, I heard so, and even I watched, I remember well on the television about this news, that the teachers themselves will become panic. So we need to, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. It was happened in Tamil Nadu, Kumbakonam, sir.
Very good, madam. Shivakami, madam. Thank you so much. Tamil Nadu, Kumbakonam. So it's a fact then. Thank you, Shivakami, madam. So like that, I came to know this. I felt so bad that what to be done all of a sudden. So this is very, very important. And that is why life skills are very important. Now, at the end of this session, I'm spending around 10 minutes on skills related to disaster management. Now, being teacher, disasters. So we will cover that issue at the later part of this session. So all these things are very, very important. So that is why my humble request to each one of you, leave other things, listen to me, have a discussion like how Shivakami intervened positively now. Like that, we will have a useful session. Then steps of disaster management. There are many, many small steps which are broadly classified under pre-disaster management. Now, what should be done just before an anticipated disaster? Like today evening, there will be a cyclone. There will be a strong windstorm. There will be very, very heavy downfall. So in such kind of anticipated disasters, how we need to prepare ourselves? Now, thanks to the technology, thanks to the mass media, thanks to the rockets, thanks to the artificial satellites, which have been launched to the sky, they always give pictures, they always warn us, they always make us get ready for the forthcoming possible natural disaster. So, thanks to all these things, that is why we can anticipate some kinds of disasters for which we need to have what is called pre-disaster management skills. So something like information system has to be made more available and accessible. Resources should be mobilized. Risk has to be calculated. Warning has to be issued through various types of communication channels and transportation, evacuation, shifting of people from one place to another place, and rescuing of people and taking care of anything and everything before something that happens later. So that is called pre-disaster management. I'm a little fast on these issues. I'm sorry. So I'll be slow and interactive when my actual focused theme comes, that is the role of education and training. Then during disasters, how do you manage? So that is also the second stage. So how do you shift the people? How quickly you put yourself into action? How do you rescue the victims? Okay. So all these things on how do you manage conserving the food, clothing, then healthcare management systems, all these things come under the second stage, that is during. And what after the disaster has already taken place. So that is called post-disaster management. So that also includes employment, then giving compensation, giving first aid, giving the permanent medical treatment to the people who have already been given first aid during the disaster itself. Like that, what post-disaster assistance that can be given to the victims. So all these things will come under post-disaster management. So pre-disaster, during the disaster, and post-disaster management. These are the three things. You can have some pictures here. Now, it is an example of how fire accidents have caused the havoc in the cities or villages. So this is something related to floods. And these days, in most of the countries of the globe, there are floods, including India. So especially in North India and even in some parts of South India, the river Krishna, the river Ganga, the river Yamuna, then Malaprabha, Gataprabha, then Kaveri, whenever the dam gets open, suddenly there will be flood. And sometimes there will be continuous rainfall. The dams are also open and the rainfall is still going on. And definitely there will be a lot of floods in the entire, especially in North Karnataka region, evidences so many kinds of, so many times floods. Okay, then this is yet another problem. The flood also results in what is called landslide, land erosion. So when the landslides occur, naturally all those houses, all those trees which are situated in the bank of the river will will fall down. So just last year we evidenced one landslide. All of a sudden in the midnight, in about 5 to 10 minutes, the whole village was completely washed out. I think it is in Kerala. Okay. So like that, floods again leads to yet another kind of disaster, that is landslide, house collapse, then soil erosion, all the trees get washed away, the whole forest will get washed away, millions of living forms will get washed away. So this is called consequential disasters. One natural disaster leading to another natural disaster, like that. And earthquakes are quite common these days. And Japan is known for frequent, earthquakes. Now, what kind of constructions have to be done? How the home construction should be done in a place which is frequently hit by earthquakes. So, earthquake-prone areas. So, the whole world has learned the management, disaster management techniques, and they anticipate all these things. That is why they construct houses in a different way. There will be ball bearings below the house, and the house is constructed using very lightweight metals or materials which are very strong also. They are strong but lightweight. So even if it collapses, immediately that can be dismantled and again reassembled. So these kinds of house building technology or techniques have been learned by many other countries. And in fact, my dear friends, there are many courses in education and training for disaster management where all these things are being taught with practical and with visits or field trips. Field-based educational strategies have been employed. So earthquakes are quite common. India has recorded quite a number of earthquakes, at least some 5 to 6 or some 8 to 10 earthquakes, which may be of little magnitude, maybe 5.6, 5, 4.5, 3.2. There may be very light tremors here and there. But once in a year, somewhere in India, especially in North part and Maharashtra, there will be earthquakes with a little above average magnitude, 5.5, 6, 5, something like that. Anyhow, earthquake is also a natural disaster. Then sea erosion is continuously going on irrespective of any country. And so how to anticipate further? Normally in rainy season, sea erosions are more because more and more river water has been added to the sea or the ocean. There will be very strong wind, and because of which the erosion finds its magnitude at a higher level. So you can see that even Karnataka or southern part of India has a coastline, right from Mumbai up to Kanyakumari, then again up to Kolkata. So all through this coastal region, there will be sea erosion, especially during, say, the rainy seasons. Then on the other hand, in an extreme end of it is severe drought. Thank God that some 3 to 4 years, the drought situations have come down. But still we can see that there is drought in some regions of our country, and in most of other countries, drought is very common. So how to manage this drought condition? Then landslides, I have already shown you this picture, and because of soil erosion, because of floods, and because of human interference and deforestation, the main cause of landslide is deforestation and illegal construction of buildings on either sides or actually on the part of land where the water has to flow. So there is no clearance for water to move. So earlier the water used to move only through the naturally formed, see, the pathways like rivers, streams, something like that. Now because of the illegal construction, over construction work and deforestation, conversion of forest into agriculture land, and again further conversion of agriculture land into the human inhabitation land. So it definitely has a negative consequence of all these disasters. So we are digging our own graveyard. So that is true, of course. So in such kinds, how we need to manage ourselves. Avalanches are quite common these days. So especially India having, say, in the northern part, Himalayas, Siachen and some other places, where it is very difficult for soldiers to live, fight, survive. And every year, at least some hundreds of soldiers are lost in the avalanches, which suddenly happen. Okay, so how to face these problems? That is through education. And industrial accidents are quite common. If any industrial town is there, definitely once or twice every year, there will be some small or average level missions. And there are huge industrial accidents in huge cities. So this is quite common, of course. Then gas leakage. So this is yet another problem. Now these days we are having the shifting or transportation of gases through the pipes. If not through the vehicles like this, if not through the trucks or any carriages, we depend on continuous and long running underground pipes. Sometimes even those pipes may get damaged and suddenly there may be a gas leakage. I do not know how we put in other cities. In Bangalore and even in Mysore, in some parts of Karnataka, every house is getting LPG. It is LPG or some other methane mixed gas, it seems, through the underground running pipes. In fact, we get, in our house, we get this kind of gas. Sometimes, see, there may be a disaster by leakage. So what to do? In my own home, it may happen, or in my street, it can happen. And you know very well that this gas is highly inflammable. Sudden expansion, sudden explosion can happen. Okay, so what to do in such kind of situations? The nuclear explosions are very, very significant, of course. We need to take a lot of care on these things. And the nuclear waste should never get leaked out into the environment. It always results in various kinds of genetic disorders. Okay, so that should never happen. So how to manage the situations in case of nuclear explosions? Then attack by terrorists. Suddenly terrorists will come to you. Suddenly the robbers will come to your street. Suddenly people will come and attack you. So it can be of lower profile in a case of house or in a street, or higher profile as the terrorists of other countries may get into your cities, may get into your building, may cause any kind of tension or the shock or whatever it is. So how do you manage? So that is all very, very important. See, knowing about disaster management is very important. So that is something that is related to education. But how to solve the problem, how to prepare for it, and what kind of skills that we need to possess. So it all comes because of training. So both education and training should go together. Dr. Dharnesh, focus on the lesson. 70 Dharnesh, doing something else. Dharnesh ST. So stop doing other things. Okay. So you can see that these are the 4 pictures. You know very well about September 11th attack in US. No one can forget it. And you know about Mumbai attack. So all these things are simple examples where we can understand even attack by terrorists can be considered as one of the disasters. Then oil spills. No, it is a continuous phenomenon. It's a continuous phenomenon. Now, wherever you have some comforts in life, definitely there will be some disasters. For example, if you want 5G, 6G connectivity, it hampers the livestock. It hampers the living thing, like small birds, insects. They're all the scapegoats of our quick transmission because of these electromagnetic radiations of waves, whatever it is. And oils are being carried in huge quantities. Millions of barrels of oil has been transported from one country to another country. The ship has to move across some 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles like that on the ocean. So many a times there will be ship accidents, shipwreckages, okay, and sometimes without any reason, because of improper, say the structure, the oil keeps, leaked to the sea. So what is the impact of oil spill on the marine ecosystem? So how to overcome this kind of problems? And you know very well that on the shore, there will be ship firms or ship factories. The old ships are being broken. So during that also, a lot of waste oil gets into the surrounding beaches. So how to overcome these problems? So these are all very, very important things. Then sometimes inside the mines, there will be fire accidents. Inside the mines. So how to overcome? What kind of preparedness one has to know? And hailstorms, so these common. So last year we evidenced quite a very heavy hailstorm even in Karnataka, in some parts of Chikmagalur district and Hassan district. I myself has seen, so in front of my eyes only, right in front of me, there was a very huge downflow of hailstorms. So all these things are very, very to know. Now, after this, I just wanted to tell you something about what agencies are involved in disaster management in India. Very few are there in front of me. I just mention and go. What is that? What is its role? What is its constitution? And so all these things, of course, require one complete session. We have National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, apex body for disaster management in India. So the ultimate agency which works for disaster management is NDMA, and the PM is the president or the head leader of this agency. And there will be quite a number of supervisors. It controls supervisors and controls the National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, across the country. So national executive committees are there. State Disaster Management Authority, like NDMA at center, we have SDMA in each state where CM and other executive committee members will be there. And some of the ministers who are responsible, who hold the positions on forest, environment, they all will be the members. Even at district level, there will be District Disaster Management Authority, National Disaster Management Authority, State Disaster Management Authority, District Disaster Management Authorities, and down the flow, we have local authorities like Panchayat Raj institutions, municipalities, town planning authorities, then the Gram Panchayats, Mandal Panchayats, etc., which all will work whenever there is a problem of disasters. Okay, fine. Now we are coming to the actual topic, that is education and training. Can anybody tell me what education is? Now we have come to the main track. Anybody knows what education is? Shobha madam, what is education according to you?
Awareness to prevent.
Okay. Education leads to awareness. But what is education basically? Chidanand Murthy sir, it's correct anyhow.
Thank you, sir.
So what is education? Basically, it is a process of developing knowledge. Knowledge leads to awareness. And through education, we enhance our understanding of how disasters can happen. Please understand. So through education, education is a process by which we get knowledge about disasters. Look, these are very common. What is a disaster? Why a disaster occurs? What are the different types of disasters? How are disasters classified? What are consequential disasters? You should know a consequential disaster is when one disaster leads to another. See, for example, oil spillage is a disaster which may cause fire breaking out, which may cause series of deaths. Okay. Then the floods, the heavy downfall or heavy rainfall is a disaster, leads to another disaster called floods, which leads to yet another disaster called landslides, which leads to what? The collapsing of forests, the collapsing of trees, collapsing of mountains, collapsing of houses. That leads to people dying in millions. So like that, there is a chain of disasters. So what are consequential disasters? How to prepare ourselves to face it? How to prepare in the context of a disaster? What should we do during the disaster? Disaster is going on in front of us. What should be done? So what should we do after the disaster is over? So all these things are the content. So education is a process which gives a knowledge about these things. What are I told you? Which makes people develop awareness on these issues. What, where, when, how to face, what are the consequences, what are the different types, what to do before, what to do during, what to do after. So all these issues are there on which education gives us knowledge, makes us understand all these things in a better way. Then it also helps us to apply whatever the knowledge we have acquired. That is very important. See, getting knowledge is important. More than that, how to apply that knowledge during the situation is much more important. So application of knowledge is important. Then appreciating the nature and appreciating the role of people who are involved in the rescue team. Appreciating the collaborative efforts, that is also very important. And development of positive attitude on ourselves, on how we can face the natural disasters. So all these things are very important. Knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, analyzing a situation, synthesis, coming to a conclusion, trying out, examining, evaluation. Okay. So all these things are given to people through education, and skills related to all these things are given through training. I hope you understand. Education helps in giving knowledge, understanding, application, all those things. But training will give you skill. Training will give you skill. Is that clear to you? So education is content related, mind related, knowledge, understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation, attitude building, right? Then emotions. So all these things are through education. But how to face that, what to do, needs skill. So these skills are given by training. Dharnesh, keep looking into the screen. Yeah, you are looking here and there. I think you are disturbed. Okay, I'm watching you. I'm sorry. Simply, I'm just making fun of him. It's okay, Dharnesh. Carry on. You are laughing at me. Thank you so much. Okay. So I want everybody to know this so that you can apply all these things. That is my concern. Right. So shall we move on? Now, did you understand the clarity of definition of education? Education is basically a process of learning, teaching and learning. Okay. Education has its own thing called curriculum. Remember, there are 4 things in education. Curriculum. So education for disaster management means there will be a syllabus on that. There are some courses you can see, do the course, you can go through, you can pursue the course without fees. Online courses are available. If you want a certified course, you need to attend classes, online classes, take the test at the end. So that is formal education course. If you want, I can give you the addresses and websites. There are so many institutes which are giving education on disaster management. Better, whenever you are free, it will be a 3 months or 6 months course. Better to know that. So if you don't want any certificate, just keep on attending the classes. Know it, you will get materials, keep it with you, just for awareness. If you want certification or diploma or something like that, there are plenty of courses which are offered by many of the universities, wherein you can either on online or offline, you can go, you can pursue the course, take up the examination. Your attendance is very important. So at the end, examination is conducted and certification is given. That is formal course, like that. So in all these things, one is very important. There should be a basic curriculum or syllabus. That is what education is. So first component is what should be the curriculum or syllabus for education for disaster management. I hope you understand. What should be the syllabus and curriculum for education and training for disaster management? Second, how to teach that? Is it online? That is better, or offline with practical activities? That is better. So teaching learning process which are involved, that is second part of education. Third one is you need to have some kinds of resources to teach. I hope you understand. So then fourth one is how to evaluate whether the person is educated on disaster management. So basically, when you have these four things, one is what are the aims and objectives of education and training for disaster management? Please understand. Number one, I just had forgotten that. First, basically, of course, first thing is in education, what are the aims and objectives of education for disaster management? One should know it clearly. What are the different aims? What are the different objectives? Second, based on these aims and objectives, we need to develop what is called curriculum. It is a sum total of all kinds of experiences that are given to the students in an institution during the academic year in a particular year. So that is what curriculum is. And syllabus is a part of curriculum. Remember, syllabus is a part of curriculum. Syllabus itself is not curriculum. Many people do not know the difference between these two. So what should be the curriculum or syllabus for this kind of education and training? Third one, how to teach these issues and how to make students learn. Teaching and learning, that is the heart component of education. how to teach, how to learn. So that is also very important. Then finally, we have how to evaluate whether the students or participants have learned all these things. See, at the end of each course, including this course, there will be a kind of examination, so that if you score well, you are given certificate. Otherwise, you will not be issued certificate. So you may have a test in the afternoon. So like that, so evaluation. So aims and objectives, curriculum, teaching, learning, and evaluation. These are the 4 components of education and training related to disaster management. So here I have given you some part of these things. So education and training in disaster management are integral components that enhance a community's resilience against natural and man-made disasters. Anybody knows what resilience is? Resilience?
Getting bounced back to the normal situation after the situation not.
It is recovery. That is recovery. Resilience means becoming very, very strong. Yeah, that is even what Madam told is, of course, there is a related meaning. So when you are strong, then only you can recover fast. Coming back to the original thing. Okay, it is something like, though you are staggered, though you are, disturbed, though you have become the victims, immediately how to come back to the normalcy. That is very, very important. So that is resilience, being very strong, stable like that. So to develop this kind of resistance among the community people, education and training are very, very important. So education provides the theoretical knowledge. I just now told you, and awareness on various disasters. It also gives training to equip individuals with practical skills. Now, can anybody give an example of a practical skill that is necessary during disaster management? An example for a practical skill. A skill that is necessary. Skill of giving first aid. Skill of carrying a person on your back. There may be a man who is hefty, who is heavier than you. So how do you manage shifting him? Skill of quick transportation, skill of evacuation. Okay. So there are both hard skills and soft skills like that. So training equips individuals with practical skills. Education gives knowledge and training gives skill like that. Together, they create a comprehensive approach that minimizes disaster impacts. That is very important. Okay, and save a lot of life. So both components should always go together. Remember, just training may not help you. Just training, because without theoretical footing, without theoretical base, without theoretical understanding, skill cannot work out. As a matter of practice, you may do that, but you should know how you are doing that, why you are doing that, what is the logic behind your action. So, it is education builds the foundation of understanding. I have just now told you, develops capacity to implement or execute that knowledge when disasters strike. Application of knowledge, that is also very important. So education talks about why behind actions, why I am giving this. Then skill or training talks about how I should give it. I hope now we are understanding. Pavitra, are you able to understand? Pavitra BC, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Rekha?
Yes, sir.
Rekha madam?
Yes, sir.
Rekha madam? I am seeing your window, not you. Dr. Rekha HR 53. So she's not there. So like that, I'm not happy with some of you who are not there. You have just kept the mobile or something like that. So I want everybody to know these things. Education talks about why you are doing that action. So there is knowledge, understanding, awareness, all these things. But training always focuses on how we should do it. What is to be done? Education. How should it be done? Training. So that's how both education and training should go hand in hand. And of course, there is education for disaster management. It is called EDM, Education for Disaster Management. It is a systematic process of imparting knowledge. Imparting means giving, transferring, okay, knowledge, awareness, understanding about hazards, vulnerabilities. You know what is vulnerability? Who is vulnerable? Somebody who gets frequently affected, who gets carried away. Risk, what risk is there after each disaster? And what are the measures which are necessary to prevent? Can we stop the disaster? Can we stop it? Can we stop spreading of fire? So can we just prevent it from happening in the beginning itself? How to mitigate? What is to mitigate? Anybody knows? Mitigate. What is the meaning of the word mitigate? Anybody?
To get rid of, sir.
To get rid of or to reduce the risk.
Reduce.
Either to get rid of completely. Getting rid of means completely preventing it, completely escaping oneself, completely rescuing, or completely coming out of that. Or to mitigate means whatever you do, that should either end up with total rescue or at least reduce the risk, reduce the loss. So that is called to mitigation, and prepare for disasters. So it's a very systematic process of doing all these things. And education focuses on developing a comprehensive understanding. See, just the knowledge which has to be very comprehensive, then only it will be very useful. So you need to understand how a disaster happens. What phenomena are there related to disasters? What are the causes? What is the impact? Then what are the theoretical underlyings of the approaches which you are going to manage? What should be done in what context? So you need to have an overall knowledge of these things. Comprehensive means Vishalvadanta, Alavadanta Jnana. Okay, very deep-rooted, very strong, and very, say, large areas are being covered. Comprehensive means big total, in total, like that. So fine. DME typically includes, means education related to management of disasters is including the following thing. I just read it out. Conceptual knowledge, that is understanding the science behind disasters. You need to know meteorological impact. So meteorology means something that is related to how it happens, whether this how the earth has been formed, okay, what happens during what seasons, see why it happens. So all these things, geological aspects, hydrological aspects, so air, water, so all these things are the resources of life, the resources on the earth, which themselves may become the root cause of any kind of disasters. So conceptual knowledge andre ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶಾಲವಾದಂಥ ಮತ್ತು ಆಳವಾದಂಥ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದುವುದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. Then education for disaster management also includes risk awareness. What happens if we don't take measures? So learning to identify potential hazards in specific geographical context means what happens at certain points of time. So what would be the impact of continuous rainfall, like 120 inches per week, every day 10 to 15 centimeters. If it continuously going on for weeks together, what would be the consequence? So risk awareness means the futuristic perspective. Then policy framework, understanding disaster management policies. There are policies. I think some others might have already spoken about policies. What laws are there? What institutional mechanisms are working out? Then historical context, that is also very important. One should learn lessons from the disasters which have already taken place. Even now we are not learning any lessons, let me tell you, dear friends. Every day millions of trees have been cut off. Lot of concrete buildings are coming up in ecological niche, in hotspot areas. Lot of human inhabitation is going on. Every year, every month, every week, every day, one or the other disasters are going on. Still, we have not learned lessons. So we need to understand the history of these mechanisms and act. So historical context should also be there in the education process, studying about the past disasters and lessons learned. Psychological preparedness, this is all the more important. See, all in mind, let me tell you. Basically, I'm a psychotherapist and I'm a psychologist. Let me tell you, I teach psychology in my college. Okay. See, very importantly, see, loss is a loss. Right in front of us, disasters are going on. So, how do you manage yourself without becoming panicked? How strong-minded you are? How do you use your mind? How do you apply your thoughts? How you make your brain, how you stimulate your brain to take actions? How do you manage soft skills during that time? How do you become strong-minded so that without becoming panic, you can start thinking about how you should rescue yourself? So this is very important from the point of psychology. Then community preparedness. So in this course of education, there are some lessons which are related to what is community, what is the constitution of a community, how to understand the dynamics of community, and how to make people understand the role and responsibility of themselves whenever some disaster occurs, and initiating proactive participation. This is very important. Now we know very well that when disasters are going on, we take care of only ourselves. We become quite aware of, conscious of our own rescue. But even though we are on safe background, we don't want to try to help to others. We don't want to take any kind of actions. So we need to have proactive participation. Remember, education and training on these issues are given to the people who are involved in these agencies. Remember. So they don't take, they'll be very careful, of course. They're conscious about their lives also. But not at the cost of others' lives. Skillfully they handle, skillfully they evacuate you, though they are in deep problem. Their first preference is your life, not their life. So that kind of strong-mindedness has been developed by education and training, remember very well. Then physical preparedness. What are the different things which are necessary to rescue ourselves? Say, if anybody can tell me some examples of what materials and objects are necessary physically in front of you or with you to overcome the problems? Suppose you are in floods, you are crossing a river. What is necessary when you are crossing a river in group?
You require a rope, sir.
Good, Sandhya madam, correct. So we require a rope, a strong rope. See, many people do not know how to withstand the speed of the flowing water. Whenever there is a sudden, flood in the water, I mean, because of, opening of water gates in the dam or whatever it is, suddenly there will be a water. More water in the river, which was not anticipated. So how do you rescue yourself? How do you stand? Do you hold hands and stand next to each other?
Jackets.
Perpendicularly to the water flow? Or do you stand one behind another? There are suppose 10 members are there in a group. So do you all stand in a group and try to face the water flow? Or do you stand holding your hand and make a long chain of 10 people? Or do you make a chain of 10 people, one behind another? Which is better? Apply your mind now.
The chain of people, sir.
Chain of people.
Chain of people, okay. Do you stand horizontally?
Like standing in same line.
Standing in the same line, but across or in the direction of river flow?
Direction
Sir,
of river.
it's in the direction of the river.
Yes, you are right. You are right, Mani. So because there all the 10 people can synergize their energy to withstand. If you stand across perpendicular to the water flow, then then definitely you will have your own energy. The energy is not synergized and all the 10 members can be washed out. See, this is a problem. No, this is a life skill. That is what I was talking about. How do you take split-second decision? Applying your knowledge. That is very important. So that is very, very important in preparing the people of community. Physical preparedness means having some objects. For example, you want to carry the people. So what is necessary to carry the people? You want to pull away all the people who are carried away by the floods or who are suffering a lot in the water. You need a boat, you need a rope, as madam told. Okay, many things like that. Then emotional preparedness means in the situations of disasters, emotionally we should become strong. We should have love. We should have, see, what is called empathy. We should help all others, understand others. These are all related to emotions. So emotionally, you need to be strong. So like that, there are so many issues which should be a part of curriculum in education. Then training in disaster management, it focuses on developing specific skills. So content knowledge is given by education, whereas skills are developed, sharpened, and promoted by what? Training. So training in disaster management focuses mainly on specific skills which are necessary to be used. Competencies, samarthyaгаlu. Remember, competencies means samarthya, abilities. Competence means it has 4 components together, A, B, C, D. When all the 4 components are together, it becomes a competence. Knowledge, skill, attitude, and aptitude. Jnana, Kaushala, Manodhorane, ಅಥವಾ ಮನೋವೃತ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ. ಈ 4 ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೆನ್ಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So training helps people to develop competencies also and practical abilities which are necessary to respond and to manage disasters in the most effective way possible. So skills include both soft skills and hard skills. Can anybody tell me what is the main difference between soft skill and hard skill? Soft skills are related to application of mind. Remember, like for example, communication skills, decision-making skills, empathy, understanding others, time management, emotional control, negotiation skills, understanding oneself, understanding as well as others, of course, then creative thinking, critical thinking. Okay, so all these things are called the soft skills, where the mind is being put into use to greater extent. Hard skills means skill of running, skill of handling, skill of tying the ropes, for example, rope knotting. If you go to
All physical skills, no, sir?
yes, madam.
All physical skills, right?
Physical skills. All physical skills. Physical skills related to disaster management are totally different, of course. Right? There are many skills which are used even when disasters are not there. But what special physical skills are required whenever there are disasters? So how do you row the boat very fast against the flow of water? Can you swim against the flow of water to rescue somebody who is in danger? So that is what I am telling you. So it involves hands-on activities, training. I am talking about what training can be given. The training will involve hands-on activity means experiences that prepare individuals to perform specific tasks. So technical skills are there. Firefighting, giving first aid, shifting, evacuating, okay, having rescue operations, they all come under technical skills. Then communication protocols. You need to know how to make the people sensitize on the urgency of getting transported, getting shifted, getting evacuated. Many people want their things to be taken. They forget that their life is more important than their things in the house. So this is where you need to communicate properly so that they understand the severity. Okay, equipment handling. So using specialized disasters response equipment. There are so many equipments. I think others have already told you about it. So depending on the type of disaster, there will be different types of disaster specific equipments. So whenever there is some fire accident, what should be there? Whenever there is a landslide, what should be there? Something like that. Then simulation exercises. So practicing emergency scenarios through drills. So people are being trained. I think you have seen the people of fire extinguishers, no, they come to villages, they give demonstrations, first aid demonstrations like that. Simulation exercises means giving demonstrations, making people have a drill or practice of it. Then what kind of decisions have to be taken under pressure? There is no time. So within a fraction of a second, you need to make a decision. So reflexive decisions, urgent and requested decisions, that should be very, very useful. Then key benefits of education for disaster management. So it improves risk assessment. So proactive mitigation means the knowledge leads to preventive actions before disaster occurs. So prevention is better than cure. That is what we say. Then reducing panic responses. See, people do not think whenever they become panic. So they lose control on the minds. They become helpless. They do not know what should be done immediately. Including me, I am telling, including me. Everybody becomes the scapegoat or victim of not being put themselves into right decisions or right actions. So better compliance means, how you should manage, how you should match. We need to coexist with the environment. We need to see, we need to face, we need to encounter. So all these things are very important. Safety protocols should be taken whenever there are some hazards are there. So information dissemination means how do you deliver the information related to the people on how they can overcome the problems of these disasters. So in the Indian context, educational initiatives like the school safety programs implemented by the National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, have significantly improved students' understanding of local hazards. I don't know whether you know it or not. Most of the teachers who are working in high schools or primary schools, they know it better. And in some of the states, training has already been given to these teachers to train further their students. And they know what are the local specific disasters which keep normally happening. Like soil erosion in the coastal areas, like earthquakes in Japan, like floods which are common in some of the rain hit areas. Okay, so how to manage in such kind of situations? So that has been given as a matter of training by the institutions. So like that. Then training for specific disaster response skills. It is all related to that. Early warning systems. So operating and responding to alert mechanisms. So tomorrow it will be there. By 4 o'clock, there may be a strong rain. So even in mobiles, there will be weather forecast, So I can understand what would be the weather in Mysore today. At what time I would get rainfall. Most of the times it becomes true. Let me tell you, dear friends. I've been checking the weather forecast on my mobile. Most of the times, to almost 70 to 80%, it becomes quite, specifically true. Then evacuation management. So whenever there is a disaster, how to evacuate? Evacuation means what? So just going out of that area, organizing safe and orderly evacuations. So ಜನರನ್ನು ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರಿಸಲಾಗಿದೆ ಕೇಳಿರಬಹುದು ನೀವು. So Orissa and Andhra Pradesh were hit by very strong cyclone last month. So people were evacuated 1 or 2 days before, so that millions of lives were rescued. Earlier it was not the case. If you take Nagapattinam, Chennai, Mahabalipuram, all those places, okay, they always have cyclone hit. Chennai is the best example in South India, where every year there will be some disasters due to heavy rainfalls. So how to evacuate like that? Then medical first response. So you need to know how people should be given first aid, basic life support and triage skills. What is triage skill? Anybody knows? Triage. Tri means 3. So identify the people who are in risk, number 1. Classifying them, whether they are having some light problems, average problems, high risk, whatever. Then third one, immediately giving the treatment that is required. Identification, categorization, and follow-up treatment. So all these 3 are put together called triage. So skills related to these 3 are very, very important. Shelter management, setting up some temporary but strong, stable shelter. So that is also very important. And more than anything else, there will be some resources. How do you distribute resources? This is a very, very severe problem. If you go to other countries which are economically backward, the resource allocation, resource distribution itself is a very big problem. So how do you manage the available food, water, and various other things in case of disasters? So education and training for recovery efforts. So how do you recover? How do you make the people recover after once the disaster has taken place? So this also needs what? What is called build back better principles. So recovery means you better immediately you should be able to put them into good shelters, build some temporary shelters which are very important. Psychological recovery means people are shocked. They have lost people, they have lost their family members, they have lost their properties, they have lost their physical resources. So how do you make them psychologically becoming once again strong? So recognizing trauma signs and support mechanisms. Then livelihood restoration. So basic things have been collapsed, basic things have been washed away. So people require all these things. The minimum level, food, water at least, food, water, electricity. So how do you regain? How do you put them back to the system? So environmental rehabilitation. So how do you put back? The whole village has been washed away. So how do you rebuild the village? How do you rebuild the ecosystem? Maybe water body or plants or agriculture lands or whatever it is. So training includes damage assessment, skills related or techniques related to assess the damage, debris management. So remember, havoc takes place in a fraction of a minute or a couple of moments. Within 5 minutes, the whole thing happens. But it takes at least 5 months or 5 years to rebuild. So debris management is very important. How do you remove that? Best example is removing of silt, which has accumulated over the village, over the agricultural land. So under the silt, there are many houses, many people, many animals, many food, storage houses, many plants, whatever it is. So how do you remove the silt? Just imagine, millions of tons of silt will accumulate within a fraction of a second. So debris means there is an earthquake. How do you remove the debris? If you take Ukraine or whichever other countries today, okay, the whole city has been what? Dominated by debris only now. Debris, wherever you see debris. So how do you shift them? Where do you put them? Where do you put them? See, solid waste management itself becomes a problem in cities like Bangalore. Every day, at least some 1,000 trucks load of what? The solid waste has been removed from city. 1,000 trucks minimum, I am telling. I do not know exact picture. So debris means unimaginable. How do you remove that from the place? Where do you carry them? What do you do with them? Okay, what do you do with them? Where do you put them? Like there is one movement going on in Mysore. People are there. So I don't know. I don't remember the name of the group. We Mysoreans or something like that. They collect the photos, the old photos of gods, the elders. See, every home will have some 10 or 15 old broken photos which have been just kept away by the people on roadside or under the tree or in the road corner or in a building or in the compound wall. So on the street side. So huge tons of photos have been carried, collected by them and properly they have been dismantled. Glass has been taken, the wooden part is taken, the photographs have been repolished, and unwanted things are, buried under the soil. So this is what one NGO is doing in Mysore. I don't remember the name of that NGO, but they are really doing very well. So you have seen the big photos of gods and goddesses are kept near the trees or at the compound wall on the roadside. So this, if the people don't want them, they just go to the street and put them away and come back. So who will take care of that? Glass pieces are. So what would be the consequence like that? So debris management is very, very important. So training should be given to handle safely for safe handling and disposal of debris from the place of occurrence. Then water and sanitation, that itself is yet another problem. And within 1 or 2 days, the whole thing gets rotten. Lot of microbial diseases would be there. many, say, the dead bodies will be getting, decayed. It may lead to communicable diseases. So how to manage that? So water and sanitation and community mobilization. So these are all the things which are taught for recovery. So community-centric approaches to disaster education training. So community-centric approaches mean what should be done like that. So community-focused education acknowledge the disaster risks and resources very greatly between locations. And say participatory vulnerability assessment. So how do you assess the vulnerable communities? Then indigenous knowledge integration. Some local knowledge is there. How do you use that? See, sometimes we always think about high profile knowledge and approaches. Techniques and approaches. But there may be some indigenous techniques which can be of little use. So that should be integrated. Then cultural adaptation. So people are accustomed to local language, local lifestyle, local culture, like that. So how to train them for a different kind of cultural adaptation. So all these things are related to community-centered approaches to disasters education training. Volunteer-driven training programs. See, there are some NGOs which work on these things. So tiered capacity building. So training volunteers with different levels of specialization, peer-to-peer training. So for example, I get trained, I teach my friend, he will teach his family members, like that. Person to person, there will be some training programs. So like that, there are some volunteer-driven training programs which are always going on. Then integrating formal education and non-formal education programs. See, you can't depend only on formal education. Come, let us have a certificate course. Let us sit in a classroom. You will have admission process. You have to pay the fees. You should go through you should pursue the course over a period of 6 months or 1 year. At the end, your attendance is very compulsory. You take the test and exams. You have some internal assessment. Finally, you have an examination. Now, all these things come under formal education. Last 2 minutes. Formal education alone cannot help you. See, you can't reach everybody through formal education channels. You need to have non-formal education programs also. So sometimes training given without any kind of certification process. It's non-formal, formal and informal. So all these things are very important. So school disaster management plans are there. NGOs are playing a very important role. Community radio programs. See, on radio, on television, education can be given across the country. There is no certification for that. Just sit in front of TV and watch. Religious institutions in temple, churches, masjids, people can be given awareness on these things. Folk media, through songs, through enactment, through dramatization, through role play, through street play, through puppet shows. So all these are the folk media through which awareness and training can be given to people. Even digital platforms are always there. In fact, we extremely depend on digital platforms these days. So sustaining disaster education and training means how do you sustain? Means what? How do you become strong enough to have sustenance capacity whenever there are some disasters frequently going on. So for that, education and training should sustain, should be a continuous process. You can't just give education today and stop it. It should be an ongoing process. So regularly the curriculum has to be reviewed. Technology has to be integrated, available technology, latest technology. Then cross-hazard training should be given. Means what? If I am trained only for one particular disaster, I may not be of useful whenever other disasters take place. So people should be trained with respect to all different kinds of trainings. So certification programs can also be done through formal education system. Academic practitioner partnership. So bridging research and implementation gaps is very, very important. Research is always going on. So there are so many kinds of educational strategies. Climate informed education is there. Urban disaster management is now becoming technological literacy. How to use your technical devices to overcome the problems. Then ecosystem based adaptation. So how do you adapt yourself based on the ecosystem that is existing in the place of disasters? Multi-hazard perspective means preparing for cascading and compound disasters. Compound disaster means what? One leads to another, like that. One having another disaster like that. So measurement, last slide. So at the end, we need to evaluate. See, if you are giving education and training, you need to have education and evaluation at the end. So knowledge retention, a test can be administered. Behavioral change, you can see how behavior has been changed in the people after education. Then you can test whether during simulation performance matrices means how do you practice, how would you show during artificially set these things. Then community resilience indicator. So people have shown resiliences. They are indicators in the sense we can understand to what extent they show resilience. Cost benefit analysis is also another part of it. And I'm sorry, I've taken 5 minutes more. I'm so thankful to you. Most of you have really participated very well. If any questions are there, please ask me. It was a good, one-sided communication. If you have, of course, in between, we have asked some questions, very few questions. It's a theory-based thing. If at all you have any question, please ask me. So be an expert in disaster management as a teacher. Any questions you would like to ask?
Sir, one query I just want to put it across, sir.
Yeah, Shruti Patel. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, is there any possibility to include this disaster management in all the disciplines, sir? Because as it is important to know about disaster management, why can't we put it in across all the curriculum, sir?
Definitely, madam. It's a beautiful backup and beautiful question. Thanks to Shruti Patel, madam. In fact, I don't know. I know I have studied the curricula of different states. I have done cross-sectional analysis of the syllabus and curricula of especially southern part of India, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Maharashtra syllabi, including Karnataka, of course. There are, especially in primary and secondary education, there are some lessons in formal education in the textbooks. And there are NGOs which are working on that. And why it is not taken seriously after PU is people are grown up, people are elder, they are exposed to various other kinds of mass media and they can take care of themselves. So here the degree of vulnerability or degree of danger may be more for people who are at lower level of education, children and the pre-adolescents. That is why it is not significantly given in higher level. But as madam told, if it is a trial, this is one of the trials that the UGC has given. You see, we have a course on this. Most of you have learned something. Some of you have been trained, of course, online on these things. No, these kind of efforts are going on, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think I would have given more number of points to Shruti madam or others also, but the time is not there. Yeah. So can we end the show? It's already 1:10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Any questions, please go ahead.
If you have any more questions, you can ask me.
So actually, one forum you mentioned that they are collecting all the old.
Yes.
I think
Today
it
in the
is
newspaper also it has come.
HSR Citizen Forum from Bangalore.
Okay, that is there in Bangalore, but in Mysore also there is a team. On every Sunday, this team will visit all the streets, collect all the photos, broken, kept away. Okay, and they do the process of separating them, removing the glass, washing the glass, reusing the glass, reusing that frame. And if at all it is totally unusable, then they will be either burning it right or below the earth, they are going to bury it. Today, you referred today's Vijay Karnataka, there is a beautiful article on that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Shivalingam is from Tamil Nadu, it seems. Yeah.
Chennai.
Any more questions? Any more questions?
If there are no queries, I request one of the participants to propose a lot of things.
Yeah, very good afternoon, sir. On behalf of MMTC Mysore and on behalf of all the participants in this disaster management faculty development program, I would like to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you very much. You made it very interesting and also gave us so much tips and information. Thank you very much, sir.
So how was the session? It was okay for you? Was it useful?
Yes, sir. It was really good. Very informative, sir.
Really wonderful, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We will send the link at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We have online test. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All the best. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.